Let's talk about housekeeping fields. Housekeeping fields allow you to keep track of what's happening to your record, such as when that record was created, when it was last modified, who created it, and who last modified it. Now, you may not even display these fields, these housekeeping fields, on your layouts, but they can help you track down problems. For instance, let's say you have a new employee doing data entry incorrectly. If you didn't have these housekeeping fields, you probably wouldn't find out very easily who was doing this incorrect data entry, and you can track your problem down more quickly. So what we're going to do is show you how to create these housekeeping fields. So we're going to start with date underscore create. And again, notice our naming convention is to start with the word date rather than creation date. We put date create. That's so we can have all our date fields organize or sort into the same area. It's up to you how you do your naming conventions. This is just an idea to think about. We're going to make sure that's a date field, so we'll change it right here. And then we'll create it. And you notice that when you create a field, it's automatically highlighted up here. That's so you can quickly go into options, which is what we need to do this field. We need to put an option on here so it automatically tracks the creation date of that record. So we'll click options, and we'll come in here and you'll see that there's this option. There's a lot of options in here. And this is just under one tab. There's also validation and storage and furigana. Now this is about Japanese databases, so you probably don't have to look at it. But we're going to go over each one of these in the upcoming tutorials, but don't worry about that. We're just going to stick with a few things at a time, and let's start with auto enter. We're going to come up here and check creation date. Now you notice it's already put date in here. Sometimes it might not say date, it might say one of the other choices based on what field type you have, but because it's a date, it chooses date for you, and in fact that's really the only choice for a date field. They're all dimmed out here. So what happens is when you create a new record, it instantly puts that creation date in there for you. It gets that creation date from the system software. So if your clock is wrong or your calendar is wrong, it's not going to put that information in correctly. So you need to make sure that's set up correctly. And if you're in a multi-user scenario, well, it still gets it from the local machine. So you've got to be careful with that. We're also going to come down here and check this option. This prevents this field from being modified during data entry. That means users. The FileMaker system can still put data in there, but you can't modify it in any other way. And this is just a safety mechanism so that you know that that date that was created is actually accurate. So we'll click OK. And again, we're going to go ahead and review this stuff. And notice that right here you can review that it's a date field, but it also has creation date and can't modify auto enter. So those are just indications that you've done everything right, and it's a good idea to double check yourself. So we're going to come over here and move over this, delete some of this, and type in mod, and then hit create again. Then we're going to go into options again. We're going to go down to modification date, and you can see that these are dimmed out. It automatically chooses date for you. And how this works is whenever you modify any field, it's any field on that record, it's going to go and update this date. So you need to understand that it updates the date after you're done modifying, when you leave that record, when you commit that record. It doesn't happen as you're changing the fields. It only happens once you leave that record. Otherwise, each time you modified a field, it would keep updating. It's just not very efficient. It's once you've done all the editing on that record and then leave it, then it puts that modification date in there. And again, we're also going to prohibit modification of value during data entry. We'll click OK. And so now you have some housekeeping fields. Not all of them. We're going to do some more. But really, this is a laborious task, and there's a lot of chance that you can make a mistake, because I'm telling you should have these in every table, in every file. That's because they're extremely helpful. They'll really help you keep track of your database, make sure it's really successful. And so you recommend you have these, and you don't want to have to type these in every time to every table. You could have 10 tables in this solution and 30 tables in this one over here, and that's a lot of typing. We're going to show you how to use FileMaker Advanced to copy and paste these from another file, so that number one, it'll be much faster, and number two, it'll cut down on errors. Now, if you don't have FileMaker Advanced, we're going to go over every option that we copy and paste so you can do it manually. But I highly recommend you get FileMaker Advanced because it can really save you time and prevent errors. And so that's what we're going to do in the next section. We're going to show you how to go ahead and copy and paste these fields. So we're going to actually delete these. We'll just click on it, hit delete. There we go. Click on this and hit delete. Now again, this is only if you have FileMaker Advanced. If you don't have FileMaker Advanced and you don't want to delete these, you want to keep them. So we'll go over that next, and just realize the importance of these housekeeping fields. It may seem like a lot of work, but it'll really help you out down the line. I'm telling you from experience.